Are you able to hear me?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. What happened, Lalit? Yesterday you were not there in DevOps class.
Yes, sir. I am facing some issue, personal issue, so I cannot join.
Okay, fine. Got a chance to see the recording or not yet?
I have seen the recording.
Fine. Okay, Shravani is there. Who else are rest of the two? Can you just please let me know your names? It is not coming as your name. The rest of the two. Please update Naveen. Okay. Fine. Now, okay. So yesterday what we discussed? We discussed about the this component, right? Krupa. Okay. Fine. So now what exactly we are going to talk about today is now we will move forward with the component level. Okay, so this will yeah, just one part to mention. Please don't worry about these notes and all because notes I will already have shared you the soft copy. If you still need, I will provide my notebook to print out, or I will have a copy available, photostat copy, so I will share. I'll provide the whole soft copy also to you guys. Don't need to worry about. You can just take the printout of whole document itself. Okay. Let's start sharing the screen. So fine. So let's proceed further. Okay. Proceed further and to see something more. Anytime you are not able to hear it properly, just let me know. Okay. So today what we are going to discuss will be continuing our same part, and on top of it we will see some more details in VPC implementation on VPC implementation on VPC only. Krupa and Lalit, have you guys started working on this one? What do we call the project? What I have shared, because now you might be able to start doing, right? Able to understand VPC components all.
Yes, sir.
Started?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Krupa, what about you? Are you getting now started on this one? Have you going through that part? Please drop in the chat once you have your answers. Okay, now let's see. So when we talked about VPC, we talked about few layers. VPC, already screen is visible to everyone, right? Size is not small. Screen you are able to read. Okay. So in VPC we talked about already. In VPC screen size. Okay. Just confirm. Are you able to see better? Better or want more? Okay. In VPC, we already talked about. Everyone, please, like after this class, please update your Skype name. Okay, so it is easy to recognize who is actually raising the request. In VPC, we already talked about like public subnets, subnets, private subnets. Already talked about route tables. Talked about internet gateway. Right? We talked about NAT gateway. But now there are few more things which we are going to discuss. What exactly that thing? For example, in VPC when we create, okay, there are four IPs. Okay, there are four IPs which is getting registered, which is getting like by default. By default. Okay. The people who are very regular, please be regular on your learning part. You guys were not there yesterday, so one of the student from my different institute, he got 42 lakh package for 6 years of experience. Okay, so please keep working on yourself. It was actually yesterday I disclosed into DevOps batch. Okay, so please keep continuing and learning. So you will be having a great career ahead. Okay, and those who are very regular, like Lalit is regular, one is Charan is very regular, Krupa is very regular. So please be very focused if you really want to get a good job. Okay, rest who are coming missing, I cannot comment on that students, but who are very regular, please be focused. Okay, so let's see. So there are four IP addresses which is registered by default, and you should be knowing this information. So 10.0.0.0. This particular IP address is registered with an network address. With a network address. Okay, 10.0.0.0. Then what exactly happened after that? 10.0.0.1. This is registered with AWS, registered by AWS for the VPC. Okay. Then you have 10.0.0.2 registered by AWS for the DNS server. Okay. Means whenever you are using it into, let's say, in a subnets and all, definitely if you are using these IPs, so these IPs are already registered. Okay. Then 10.0.0.3, it is reserved for the future. future use. Then you have 10.0.0.255 reserved for broadcast access. Okay, so these are the few IPs actually which is default registered. Okay, default registered means like whenever you are needing it in an form of in a form of this thing, at that time it is going to be registered. You cannot use these particular IPs. Okay, on top of it, what happened? AWS never ever or does not support, not never ever, AWS does not support broadcast in a VPC. Okay, broadcast in a VPC, but still it is registered. But still it is registered. Okay, so these are the few four IPs which is actually getting into registered. So now when we talked about VPC, we talked about few layers. We already talked about components and everything. So this is the backend which you have already seen, like the public subnet, the private subnet, the route table, the internet gateway, NAT gateway. But on top of it, there is something, one more component is there, which we have not talked in very detail. Okay. That particular component called it as implied router. Implied router. Okay. What exactly role of this particular thing? First thing you have to understand, this is the only one component. This is the only one component which is virtual. Okay. Virtual means when you go to the AWS cloud, let's say this one, and if you just search for implied router, you won't be going to find anything. Okay, you won't be find anything over there. And if I'll just search for implied router, so if you see over here, it is not there. But as an architectural level, as an architectural point of view, if we say VPC architecture diagram, and if we see over here, if you see over here in this screen, router you are seeing, which is getting connected. We talked about public subnet, we talked about private subnet regions, everything we talked about, but we did not talk about this router part. So this is actually with the hardware form, it is not available. It is available into the form of software itself, which actually sit over here in between whenever we are connecting, trying to reach a connection. See, internet, public subnet, private subnet, and a flow of internet is getting connected with different scenarios. So at that time, this router come into the picture. Okay. Basically, what exactly it is doing it is this is the only component which is a central routing. What happened? Okay, what happened? And it is an central routing function. It is an central routing function. Okay? Where what happened? Where the majorly task for this component is to connect different AZ. AZ means different availability zone. Availability zone, okay, and connects VPC to the internet gateway. So it's major actually in a backend when you are trying to create an internet gateway and to attach it at that time, this component actually employed router is working into the backend. Now, if someone is asked, okay, how this VPC is getting internet connectivity? So one way you can say internal gateway, internet gateway, we are using it, but internally implied router is working who is actually taking to this part. Okay, taking to this particular part. Okay, fine. The people who joined a bit late for them, yeah, one update is just now said also. There is one student yesterday got a package of 42 LP in the field of DevOps. He was 6 years of experience. So just you get to know that okay, how much people are getting. Fine. So that is an update for the people who join later on. So what is that? This is the only component which is virtual and a central routing function where majorly task of the component is connect to different availability zone and connects to VP intersect gateway. Okay. After that, what exactly it is going to be happen in the VPC? In the VPC, there are around there are around total of there are around total of 200 route table 200 route table per VPC. Okay, per VPC. So that is the secondary point. As of now, I'm talking about few components in VPC. Let's say implied router, first part, then it is your route table, then it is your internet gateway. So implied router, which is the component which is virtual and it is a central routing function where the majority of tasks of component to connect different availability zone. Availability zone already you know right now. That is your AP-South 1 South 1A getting connected with AP-South 1B, okay, getting connected AP-South 1C, AP-South 1C. So this is the components. Okay, if you see over here, if I can show over there, if you can see over here, so just go over here and then just search for availability zone AZ. Or not over here. If you go into creation of launch instances, at that time you definitely have noticed the different availability zones which is actually available while we see into creation of launch instances, that front only. Go down, and go to add it. And for example, subnet default availability zone 1A, 1B, 1C. And implied routers helps actually to connect to the connect different AZ all together with the help of internet gateway. That is actually what they do it. Fine, clear this part. So always remember how these are interconnected. These are interconnected with the employee router. So backend you should be knowing it in a better form. Okay. Now after that, what exactly it is they are asking? Next part after this one, there is a route table. We already have seen in a practical, but let's understand something from the theoretical point of view also. So in VPC, what happened? There are like around 200 route tables per VPC. Like you can create approx 200 route tables over there. Okay. And what exactly there will be there that in this cloud, in this AWS cloud, each subnet is allocated each subnet is allocated with the only one route table, only around route table. Remember what we did. If we have a public subnet, it is getting interacted with public route table, right? I can able to associate only 1:1, right? At that time when I was doing pub edit association of my route table, I can able to edit only one. For an example, if I go over there, just search route tables VPC. See, go inside this one. It's selected. Go to route tables, and while we are doing a route table, for example, this is the route table, anything. If I'll click on subnet association, I'll click on edit subnet association. So whatever, for an example, as of now there is nothing. If I want to do it, I'll just click that thing and make it as a save association, which you have definitely seen while doing the implementation, right? Then what exactly it happened? So this is one of the point in this one. After that, what happen if you do not specify? For an example, if you do not specify, if we are not specifying the subnet to the route, right? For example, now you have created 6 different architectures or 6 different subnets. So what will happen? Maybe I have not like I have created one subnet, Ranjit public subnet. Okay. And I have created one route table, let's say Ranjit route table. Fine. Both of them I have created, but intentionally, I have not configured them together. Configure them together. In that scenario, what is happened? Configure them. In that scenario, what is happened? This will be go and sit with default. Go and sit with the default route table. As of now, what is there? For an example, if I'll go over here, and this is the route table is default route table. Okay, because this VPC is default route VPC. See, it is default. Mine is not there. 172.31.0, or I can just say it as an, let's say, default VPC, which is offered by the AWS itself. Okay, it is not using by myself. So, and this is the main route table. So if you go over there, anything which is available into the subnet section, it can be default itself. Okay, so that is also one of the point you have to always remember. Then after that, what exactly it is going to be happen? Then we can add it. We can add it the main route table. We can add it the main route table. Okay, and edit means like configurations. We can change it. We can change it and move it to any subnet in different location in different locations. But the point over here is we cannot delete it. We cannot delete the table. Delete the table. Fine. That is another point of the route table. Okay. After that, after this point, what exactly it is going to be happen? This is one of the point. Then what will happen in case in case in case we can make a custom route, which we already seen. We can make a custom route. Okay. and add several subnets, in this table, and later on we can delete it. Later on we can delete it. The main route table. I'll show you what is main route table. So what will happen once you create a custom VPC and you will be having your route table. Let's say Lalit public route table, Lalit private route table. It is there, and you can having multiple multiple components over there already you created. So you can delete this main route table and nothing is required. Fine. That is another feature where which you can use it. So you can delete also this particular thing. As of now, I cannot delete it because it is a single route table which is available in this one. Okay, so that is also possible when we are debugging the VPC over there. Fine. Now, after that, what happened? So generally when we do a custom route table configuration, so when it is a main table, okay, just now which I have shown, main route table, which is by default. So this having an architectural design or this having a creation in this one, that it is communicating like this 10.0.0.0/16. It is connected with local. Local is your not local, it is connected with the internet gateway. That is the reason by default you are getting connected with the internet way. But if it is a custom one, for an example, custom means, let's say, I'm giving a name Krupa. Krupa VPC have been created, and when she want to go and see to the route table, so how she will be doing it, 10.0.0.0/16, and it is going to the local network, local network, and then 0.0.0.0.0/, let's say 0 only, and it is going to internet gateway, which you have definitely seen when we were doing a configuration. How many you remember whenever you have created, like it is a Krupa VPC, and I am giving it a name as Krupa public route table. Remember, while you are creating a public route table, you have seen definitely into public only, right? While associating the public subnets, you have seen this components as well, right? So what exactly we talked about? We talked about there are 4 IPs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Generally, it is considered as an indexing. Indexing means if it is 4, then it is considered as 0 to 4. Okay, the first one is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 10.0.0, it is registered with the network address. 10.0.0.0.1 registered with AWS for VPC route. 10.0.0.2 for DNS server. 10.0.0.3 reserved for future as, and 10.0.0.4 reserved for broadcast access, which is available over there, which is available into the component itself. Okay. Then what exactly furtherly we talked about? We talked about one component called implied router. Okay, implied router. This implied router, which is we talked about, it's not implied. Yeah, implied router, which is as per this diagram. If you see, it is available. We talked about internet gate, we talked about VPC, we talked about availability zone, we talked about region, we talked about gateways, customer network, but router we did not talk about. So router is also a very small component which is virtually available, not hardwarely available. Okay, and the main task of this one is actually help us to communicate. Okay, communicate the availability zones. Availability zone, where availability zone means AP Hafen South 1A, 1B, 1C, 3 labs are there. No, so three labs it is getting interconnected. And on top of it, what exactly happened? They are having a capability of 200 route tables in one VPC. For example, if I am creating one VPC, Ranjit VPC, so I can able to create approx 200 route tables over there. Right? I cannot delete the main route table, which is this one. I can delete and configure only when I have created my own table. Right? This is something which is the configurational point of view. Now into the same layer, which is one more component is there which we have to talk, that is your internet gateway. So you might be have noticed this thing. You might be have noticed this particular thing that we have using it for an internet purpose. We are using it for an internet purpose. Internet purpose. Are you guys completely with me, able to follow up now, because you already have seen practical implementation? So everyone is able to understand clearly what exactly I'm talking about, what exactly the contents I'm referring. Come on, guys. Morning time. Be active. Are you guys able to understand clearly what I'm talking about? Is there any problem in speaking? What happened? Why you guys be like silent over the call? What is the issue over there? Just say yes or no. Yeah, it is understandable. It is not, or if say directly no, it is not understandable. Are you guys able to grab that particular thing or still having an issue? Charan, are you able to grab it? Able to match it with the thing what you have done it in practical? Lalit, Krupa,
Yes, sir,
Shravani.
I am able to get it, sir.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay.
looking after that. So how about VPC? So,
Hmm. VPC, but some components which you might have not seen into the practical implementation. Okay, implied router we might have not seen into the practical implementation. Fine, fine issue, fine enough. So let's move further. When we talked about internet gateway, next component is an internet gateway, which is we are using. So because you have to explain internet interview, so what exactly that should be looks. So basically, when we say we are using an internet gateway, it is actually, or I would mention it, it is actually a virtual network. Actually, a virtual network that connects connects a VPC to the network, a VPC to the internet. Okay, it is a virtual network that connects a VPC to the internet. So that will be your common understanding on this particular line. Okay, another point that default VPC can be defined VPC can be or it is already attached. It is already attached with the internet gateway. With the internet gateway, okay, which we have already seen. By default it is already attached. Another point, if any time we are creating a new vpc a new vpc, then you must need to you must need to attach the you must need to need to attach to the attach to the internet gateway, right? Whenever you are doing it, you are creating it, right? Then what exactly you have another point on this one, that your subnet should perform a different actions, means your subnet's communication performs to internet gateway the internet gateway, right? One more point, it supports both IPv4 versioning. IPv4 versioning. See, in IP, there are two type of IP. One is IPv4 support, IPv4 and IPv6. So these are the two versionings which is actually getting supported by this particular component. Fine. So this is something about three components under the VPC, which is your uh, implied router, route table, internet gateway. So what exactly we talked about in VPC till now? I'm just talking about. Uh, so we talked about. Hmm, so we talked about VPC. We talked about public subnets. We talked about private subnets. We talked about route tables. We talked about, let's say, internet gateway. We talked about, let's say, uh, uh, VPC, public subnet, private subnet, route table, internet gateway. Uh, we have talked about something called implied router. This is also we talked about, right? Now, this is few of the services we have talked already. Now, what else into this one? So there are few more components now into this one. So another major component now is NAT gateway. Another one after this we have security group. Okay, another one you have NACL, and The last one you have VPC peering. See, I'm breaking complete this VPC, whatever you are seeing over here, into parts. So you will be having a better answer whenever someone asks, okay, what you have done with the VPC? You will be having a detailed information over there. Okay. So when I say NAT gateway, let's say start with the NAT gateway. NAT gateway. What exactly NAT gateways? Network gateways. It is actually a network address translation. A network address translation. Okay. Basically, what happened? This particular network is getting used for network address translation gateway to enable instances in a private subnet to connect to internet to connect to internet from initiating from initiating a connection with those instances. What exactly I mean to see over here is that this particular network is used for network address translation gateways to enable instances in private subnet to connect to internet. Means we have seen also if it is a private EC2 instance or something which we keep disabling it. Okay, where we disabled it where private EC2 instance where we can be private EC2 instances where can be where can we does not have internet and it can connect using NAT. We will see actually this one we will see as a practical or I have shown also in some platform. What exactly happened after this one? Like you have created a NAT gateway, which I have shown over here. When we go in the downside, left, or you can even search also. Filter by VPC, network ACL, transit gateways. NAT gateway. So this is the NAT gateway. Okay. So basically what was the function was? Just to create a provider for the private subnets to reach to the internet. Okay. So now over here, what exactly we were talking about? So same way that it is providing an access to enable the instances in a private subnet to connect to the internet from initiating a connection with those internets. Okay. Now what next? That here you will be charged. Here you will be charged bit heavily. Okay. Here you will be charged bit heavily. When we talked about NAT gateway, let's say if a NAT is there or not, NAT gateway is there. So let's say this is the component. So what exactly it will be? Here you will be charged bit heavily for using a a NAT gateway in your account. In the account. It actually calculate on the hourly basis data charge. Hourly base data charge. Okay, and on top of it data processing rate. What exactly I mean to say it? For an example, you created one EC2 instance, and then EC2 instance is connected with the private subnet and public subnet. On top of it, what exactly it is happening? If you are sending a data using a NAT gateway, for example, I'm not using direct internet gateway, I'm using NAT gateway. So what exactly it is going to be happen? It will cost me a heavily charge for this component because I'm trying now private subnet. I will be using an internet gateway. So that component it is going to work in over here. Right. So that is the reason NAT gateway is very highly chargeable in the scenario based of VP in the scenario of this particular thing. Now, That is another point which is used. The first point what you have to remember or understand is that NAT gateway is used to connect to the internet for the private EC2 instances, which help me to take to the internet. Second point what you have to remember is that NAT gateway is very heavily charged. Okay, whenever we are trying to reach to the internet, and data processing rates are bit higher. Okay, that is the thing which you have to understand it. Then what exactly you have to do it, that to create a NAT gateway, to create a NAT gateway, we must have to we must have to specify the public subnet, specify the public subnet in which NAT gateway should reside, in which NAT gateway should reside. Means everything whatever you are going to use it, that is going to be on the public subnet, though it is working for private, but whatever we are going to create it, that will sit on the public subnet only, NAT gateway. Okay, on top of it, on top of it, okay, we will be specifying an elastic IP address, specific elastic address to associate NAT gateway, to associate NAT gateway. So for example, once we created an elastic NAT gateway, we will be creating one NAT elastic IP also. We have to select allocate elastic IP. Once the IP is allocated, the charges is started getting accumulated into the account. That also you have to remember, right? So that is the way it flow is going to be happen. And this same NAT gateway on elastic IP we will be passing in our route table for the private subnets. Remember, in a private subnet we have not configured any rule. So in private subnets we will be creating that particular component, right? On top of it, you have one more important point. On top of it, you have a important point, like when we create this. So when we create a NAT gateway, we must need to update the route table. The same point which I was talking about. Update the route table and associate with one or more private subnet private subnet to point to the internet bound traffic, to the internet bound traffic. Okay, hence this will enable the internet connectivity for the private instances. What exactly I mean to say it, let's go to over here. Let's say for default VPC only, we will see your VPC and just see the resource map. So what exactly this connection is showing it? VPC is there, 3 subnets are there going route table. As of now, it is showing internet gateway. So here one more connection will be come over here in this part. That is your, can't I use pointers? Turn off incoming audio. No. Okay, so what exactly it is going to happen here? It will show one more network, that is the NAT gateway. In route table also there will be 2 route table. One will be a public route table, one will be the private route table. And here also you have public subnet and private subnet. So what exactly it is going to happen? The the private subnet, let's say coming from here. Assume this is a private subnet. Coming from here, it will go first to public route table. Okay, public route table will reach public route table here. In this route table, what we are going to do it, we will be add one parameter for internet gateway. Let's say what we'll do, we'll go to route table. Let's say this is the route table one, just for a check. And if we'll just click on edit routes, so what will happen, I'll just click on add route and I will search for here, let's say NAT gateway. I will search over here, and here it will show me the NAT gateway, and here will be the IP of your internet you are going to pass it, right? Once that is done, then you are able to configure the NAT gateway over here. So means route table will be having the information for this one. So under this VPC, what exactly you are going to do it, the private route table will go and reach to the NAT gateway rather than this internet connection. So we will be disabling that component completely, right? This is the thing which we are going to do and see in our implementations. Okay, we will, when we try again one more scenario, then we will see over there. Fine. So this is one more part. VPC, public subnet, private subnet, internet gateway, and private router, NAT gateway. So what is next? Next is your security group, which you have seen while deploying the EC2 instances. Whenever we go over here and click on EC2, and you have seen, not over here also, you have seen in this one. For example, this is the security group by default. So let's see what exactly this security group in a real time. As of now, you have just understand that, okay, this is allowing some ports, this is doing something and all. And let's delete these things. This is not required for a while. Let's delete it. Okay. Generally, you should keep empty. And if you are not using it, just keep all the ports disabled only. So what exactly this security group in form of a like a theoretical way to understand this implementation. So basically what it is a virtual firewall. It is a virtual firewall at the ENI level, means at the top layers of the system. Okay, it act as an it act as an it acts as an security for the EC2 instances. For the EC2 instance, a very famous question for an interview from my point of view, that how you can configure security into VPC. So security group is the first component which can help you to lead to the for the configuration. This question I have been asked in IBM interview, it have been asked. Okay, so it acts as a security of the EC2 instance group, and for each EC2 we can configure approx 5 security groups. We can do more also, but as of now it is some limitation over there. Okay, this security group have only permission. What exactly means permission? As of now, if you see over here, if I'll go to security group and just click on security group, click on output edit rule, click on add rule, and just make an range. For an example, I just want to click SSH 22. So if you see over here, this is just allowing it. Let's say this is just allowing it. I cannot have an option for deny. Here I cannot see deny. So it means it is just have only one way communication. Allow I can do it, but deny I cannot do it. So if I want to remove it, I have to just delete it. I cannot, like, it have a permission to start in a very layman example. So for example, SSH is there, but if I can just save it and I can just make this save rule. So what will happen? Now this having a permission to start SSH communication. Let's say now I don't want to use it for some time. So as of now, in the backend process, what should be there? There should be some feature for denying, or there should be some feature to stop that. Okay, stop for some time, but that is not there. I have to anyhow delete this thing to make it in a safer side. So that is the another thing which is available in this particular scenario. Okay, then on top of it, what exactly we have, that this is very stateful, and it can help us to return traffic in the inbound traffic okay, even though we are not applying any rule even though we are not applying any rule. Okay, so that is what security group. So now whenever you are configuring a security group, you should be remember what exactly security group. It is basically a virtual firewall at the ENI level. It acts as a security for the EC2 instances, where we can configure 5 security groups and we can do it more. Okay, the security group have only the permissions which is available, and it is very stateful to transfer the inbound traffic even though we are not applying the rules. Pretty much clear this part, right? So this is one layer. Now in this one, another layer which we have not seen also, that is your network NACL layer, okay, which is also available in some of the components, network and security, network instances sphere. There will be a component. I'll show you where exactly it will be showing. network ACL. It is here only under securities only. So we have just now seen security groups. Now let's talk about network ACL. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, if someone is asked, okay, how you will configure a security? So first thing is already you have seen security group. Now let's see onto the NACL part. Okay, so what exactly it is there? It is a function. It is a function that performed on the amplified router or implied router. Remember, we just now talked about implied router on the top, which is actually helping us to communicate multiple availability zones together, right? What exactly it is doing? It is a need. It is a need of an optional layer of security. Optional layer of security. Layer of security for the VPC means whatever VPC I'm creating, let's say for example, I'm creating a churn VPC, so I can add it security group and NACL that also act as an firewall. Now you have a clear understanding what exactly firewall. It is like a security which we are using onto our products or into our VPC for controlling the traffic in and out for the subnets. That is what it is doing, right? On top of it, what happened that when we create VPC, it automatically come with the comes with the default NACL. Okay, always remember when we create first VPC, this is default. Whatever you are seeing it, that is by default, it is already there. See, and it is already associated with three subnets. Three subnets which was there, that is the three subnets which was available default. And there are two inbound rules and two outbound rules, like what should come, what should go. That is inbound and outbound. So in inbound, what they have defined? They have defined some traffic, a low. Now over see here, first difference which we are going to see, it have that start and stop button option over here. Means I can allow also the network, I can deny also the network. Same way when I click on inbound outbound roles, I can also do allow option and deny option also there. Okay, that is again a layer. We can see this is in a practical also. Now what else you can do it? We can also create a custom NACL. So whenever now we are going to create a VPC, like for example, tomorrow class when we again do an implementation, so we will be creating a custom NACL also and associate associate it with the subnet. Okay. Once it is there, then what will happen by default, all inbound and traffic we can control from here also. So now if someone is asking you in an interview, okay, what are the security metrics you have taken? If you have given this answer that okay, we can use NACL also for using our security group, our securities or EC2 instances, this will be considered as the best answer because you will be knowing that okay how firewall is working. Okay, so like each of the components in this NACL is associated with network ACL. Okay, so by default this will also follow the same thing. By default it will be associated with the default route tables. Okay, what else? In this one we can associate a network SSL with the multiple subnets. Okay, in the NACL we can associate with the multiple subnets. Okay, multiple subnets following, whereas in security group we were associating only one. Okay, only one. Another advantage in NACL we can define multiple rules also. Multiple rules. Okay, and in NACL we have a highest number rule which can be defined is 32K7666. This is the number where we can create a rule that is a multiple of 100 and you can do it. Okay, so this is Another one more point which I just missed. NACL can help us to allow and delete, both allow and deny. Both we can perform in NACL, right? So what exactly it means? Like for an example, if I want to configure it, we will be configure this NACL. So these are the major components. What is VPC peering? We will see it practically only. I will show you also in tomorrow session. So VPC having these components important. Please remember these components like VPC itself, then public subnet, private subnet, then route table, then your internet gateways, then your implied router, then your NAT gateway, security group, NACL, and VPC. This will cover everything when you do into the VPC part. If you see over here also, we talked about VPC, subnets, route table, internet gateways, elastic IPs. We will going to talk about NAT gateways, peering connection. We will see tomorrow. Security groups. We already talking about network is ACL. We just now talked about. Then network firewall also we can configure, but that is not required. Then we will see some client VPN endpoints also we will see tomorrow practically itself. Okay, and transit gateways also we will be using it. So these will actually cover your complete VPC itself in the regular basis what organization is covering, right? What industry is actually referring that how the components should be looked. Then we will talk about VPC peering itself. Okay, so what exactly you have to do today? You just create one custom VPC and then create public subnet, private subnet, and today you will create 6 subnets. Okay, create 6 subnets, and on VPC you create, and then you should be having 4 subnets using the private subnet only. That does not should have an internet gateway, and then that 4 subnet should be getting configured with only NAT gateway. Okay, using NAT gateway you have to use it, and then whatever you have to do it, you have to create a private EC2 instance and try to get into that private EC2 instance. You have to communicate it. Okay, only you just create EC2 instance. You only create 2, but subnets you create 6. Okay, I might have shown that in DevOps classes, but you also have to try this scenario by your own. Clear? Fine. So let me drop this thing to you guys. Lalit or Charan, any one of you, will copy this content, okay, from here, and drop into the documentation, okay, and sorry, drop into WhatsApp, just mentioning VPC components, VPC complete components, okay. Lalit, you just do this part. Just
Okay, sir.
make one Word file and just mention it. VPC components. You mention it onto the heading, and just after that, just drop. This is the content shared by sir to go through for these interview prospectus. Fine.
Fine, sir.
Okay. So fine. So tomorrow we will be again having a practical sessions to see further the things. Okay. Now, one more thing before we just wind up the call. So, how many of you now feeling confident using AWS? Are you guys feeling bit confident with the tech stack? Are you seeing it, the things
Yes, sir.
going? You are understanding your implementation? Perfect. Perfect. Fine. So, please drop one messages over there in your WhatsApp groups from boys groups and from the girls group. That okay. The sessions what we are getting from the AWS prospectus, and that is the practical implementation which we are doing it. It is actually helping us to understand the concepts, and this is definitely going to help us into the interview. So please drop this messages over there, so it can be help us to like understand how much leverage it is going for each, and be very true, be very frank. This is not any feedback and all. Just drop whatever you feel, what you have understand. Okay, just mention like okay, feedback, not feedback, the input by let's say Lalit, and mention like, okay, this is my point of view, which I have seen while learning this thing. Okay. Fine. Thank you so much. I have to rush now, and we will meet tomorrow for the further things. Right. Bye bye.